Okay, my name is Joseph DeAngeli. I am the president and CEO of the Wildlife Education and Conservation Center here in Garfield, New Jersey. We've been here at our current location for 5 years, but we've been doing the conservation work specializing in bats for over 25 years.
That's incredible. So what made you fall in love with this line of work?
I've always been an animal lover. My parents instilled, the love of wildlife and animals, within me. And I guess it just kind of, hooked me from a young age. Plus, I was a Batman fan, so that was, kind of a direct tie-in. Although it had nothing to do with bats as an animal, it's just, you can't love bats and not love Batman. So it all kind of worked itself out.
Nice. So tell me about some of your favorite animals here you have in this location.
So, we're best known obviously for our bats, but we also have sloths here and our Bengal cats, such as Chi-Chi here. I love our barn owl Perseus, who you met. And, it's almost like asking somebody what their favorite child is. So, we have so many animals here, and I love them all, for different reasons. But, one of my favorite animals is definitely Perseus, the owl, because he's been with me for so long. We've had him since he was 4 weeks old, and he's now almost 15.
Tell us about some of the more difficult parts of this job, and what do you think is something that you want to work on? So,
difficult job, as far as, trying to convince people that you're doing the right thing. There's always going to be somebody questioning what you do and why you have animals in captivity, but you can't learn about things that you don't see right in front of your face. So this is why we opened up to the public. This is why, instead of just doing this from my home like I did 25 years ago, we decided to open up to the public, to give people a chance to see what they need to save, because we can't conserve what we don't love, and we can't love what we don't see. So we try to make ourselves an affordable, location and something fun and something that you can do on any budget. There's always bumps in the road, especially now with having to relocate. Once you move 100 animals into a location, you don't want to think about moving. But unfortunately, that's one of the problems we're facing right now, is having to relocate.
Tell me about this relocation process. Talk to me about...
So basically, while we were spending thousands of dollars on our new level last year, we were getting it ready to open it to the public. So basically, while we were spending thousands of dollars on the basement and making improvements, and our old landlord was approving these improvements, we were told in the middle of it that he had been negotiating and was in contract to sell the properties. So we stopped all the work and, basically just sitting there collecting cobwebs. And then the new owners, the new developer, who we were told by their lawyers, we were told that the new owners had no intention of kicking anybody out. They were just going to make improvements, and maybe we just have to get a new lease and negotiate a new lease. So while our lease was winding down, we kept asking them every month, hey, what about a new lease? What's going on? And they would say things like, oh, we don't have an answer for you now, or we're assessing the situation. And they were basically just letting the sand run out on the hourglass. And basically, 3 or 4 months ago, they basically told us their plans moving forward do not include us, and that they were going to knock our building down and the residential home next to us with several families in it. They were going to be evicting them so that they could improve on the parking lot. But you don't have to be a rocket scientist or a brain surgeon to realize that a mega developer doesn't come into a town like Garfield and buy $7 million worth of buildings so he can make the parking lot better. You'd have to be a real, pardon my French, jackass to believe that. But once the town and council and mayor turned their back on us, after vowing to protect us and to do anything in their powers to, either find protection for us or find us a new home, we realized they did nothing, and it was because they knew about the deal all along. So it's kind of heartbreaking to get dragged into political nonsense when all you're trying to do is, give something back to the community and do something nice for some animals that needed homes.
And what is something like this wildlife protection center?
Yeah.
What is the value to it to the community? What is its value to a person like me who just found it today and
Sure.
just fell in love with it?
Sure. So, to me, the most important thing is, this generation is growing up, basically their whole life is this, this is their whole life. You go to a concert, all you see is people looking at their phones. They're not even looking at the band playing. They're not even looking at, the rapper. They're not looking at the DJ. They're looking at their phone. Like, that's all people do. They look at their phone and they're losing their lives. This is going back to what I loved when I was a kid. Going somewhere and seeing animals and learning about why they're important to the environment and why, if we didn't have fruit bats, or any bats for that matter, why would that ecosystem collapse? To me, it's seeing the excitement young folks and even the adults get out of seeing, wildlife, learning about animals in person instead of reading a book or reading, the facts on Google or getting your information off of TikTok or a Snapple cap or whatever it is you're getting your information from. Here, they're getting it firsthand from animal keepers and people that have, a lot of experience with animals. So I guess, my main thing is just, spreading the word and really telling people, there's a whole other world out there outside of your phone. Put the phone down, go outside, take a walk, take a paddle, go kayaking, go visit a zoo. Most zoos are nonprofits, and a lot of the money that comes through the doors goes directly to conservation efforts. So just trying to tell people, hey, get out there and do something and get away from the phone for 5 minutes, get away from the laptop for 5 minutes, get out there and just see life and experience life, and don't believe everything they tell you, on the news.
That's beautiful. I guess my final question is a messaging that you want to give to the people that might watch this. So what would you want someone who's watching this to know, and what would you want them to do?
So, we all are responsible for what happens, to this planet. And, at the end of the day, it doesn't matter what political party you're affiliated with. None of that matters, because as we saw during this pandemic didn't choose, sides. It affected everybody. So we need everybody to get involved with making this world a better place, whether it's animal education and teaching people about why these animals are important, or whether it's trying to explain to people that climate change is real, and it is happening. Because if we don't do all that and we don't join hands together and try to make this world a better place, we're just going to lose it. We're at the point right now where I think everybody has such a grim feeling, such a kind of a loss of hope, that we really need to kind of come together as a people and realize that it doesn't matter what ethnicity you are, it doesn't matter what affiliation you are, we're all human beings. And at the end of the day, this planet is our home. And if we destroy this planet any further, it won't matter what your political party is. It won't matter whether you're pre this or pro that or con this or against this. It won't matter, because we won't have a place to live. So fix the planet, try to reverse the mistakes that we've made in the past so we don't, revisit them in the future, and try to think about our children and our grandchildren instead of just thinking about ourselves and thinking about right now. We have to think about the future.
I love that. So let me give you this last final question.
Sure.
Just give me a rundown of things I can find as someone first time walking into the door. What are the things they can find here at this location?
So what I love about this little, mini zoo that we call it, is that we get involved with everybody that comes through the doors, whether it be giving them some food so that they can feed the wallaby or they could feed the tortoises, and we do, feeding with animals throughout the center, to blatantly not putting a sign on an exhibit so people don't know what it is, so they ask us. We like to interact with our visitors, and we like to educate them. And even the youngest volunteer, Albert here, loves to spread the information to people, and we just like people to interact. If you go to a major big metropolitan zoo, chances are you're not going to talk to a zookeeper. You're not going to get information. You're just going to read a sign. We don't want people to just come in here and read signs. We want them to interact with us, to interact with the animals, and to learn a little bit, and to talk to us.